A breath of fresh air for Australian Conservatives or a betrayal of the party he was elected to serve. Senator Cory Bernardi has officially resigned from the Liberal Party to start his own. So what's in it for Australian voters? He joins us now. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, Carl.
What took you so long to man up?
Carl, I've come to the realisation that party politics, major party politics, is failing the Australian people. And you just have to look at the evidence all around us. There's an increasing number of people that are running to minor parties. They're looking for strength and stability and an ability to predict the future for their children. And we've got to do a better job. And so I've come to the conclusion there's a better way, and it's a way built around enduring principles that have stood us in good stead and will stand our children in good stead. And we need to see more of that.
People were talking about this for months. Again, what took you so long to man up?
Well, Carl, I have great hopes that we could have rebuilt and strengthened the Liberal Party from within. I've come to the conclusion that it's on a spiral downwards and there needs to be a better way.
Do you feel any sense of betrayal at all? Do you feel any sense of remorse for the party that made you?
Carl, I've been joined at the hip for the Liberal Party for 30 years. This is a very tough call for me. It's tough for my colleagues and my friends and my supporters in the Liberal Party. I know that it's difficult. But ultimately, you've got to look at the bigger interest. It's not about me, it's about the country. And I think we can strengthen the Liberal Party by pegging
it is about you, though, isn't it?
It
is about you. Can you name a piece of government legislation, not an idea, but policy, that you were against?
Well, yes, I voted against tax rises when the Abbott government tried to bring them in because I didn't think it was in the national interest. Well, now I railed against in December of last year the fact that they were going to try and introduce or review the ETS provisions of the emissions trading scheme.
No, but you're leaving the party now. Name one piece of legislation you're against.
Well, I don't support tax rises. I don't support increasing government expenditure to promote
not ideas, but policy. One piece of policy that you're against.
Carl, what policies are we asked to assess through this process? Over the last 6 months...
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, that's the point. I don't know what's coming down the pipe. I haven't had a conversation with them.
No, but you're leaving a party. There's not one policy on the desk that you're against at the moment.
Carl...
And you're leaving the party.
Carl, ideas matter in politics. And what I've realised is that ultimately I've been battling within the party against the very forces that try and subdue the real principles. Now, why is it left to me? Why has it been left to me to say that tax rises are wrong, that big government spending programs are wrong and against the philosophy of the party? I've managed to save some of those things, of course, but I shouldn't have to go into battle against the very ideas that the Liberal Party was founded upon all the time. And that's the real challenge.
Why didn't you just resign?
Well, Carl, that was an option, to be honest. I could have maintained the status quo. I could have left. But, you know, ultimately, I think the biggest thing facing us is getting our country back on the right track.
Yeah.
And to do that, I support a centre-right government. I think it's got to be stronger. And I think the Australian people, just a minute, I think the Australian people need a credible and principled alternative in the Senate to give some strength to that, you know, political philosophy.
Okay, how is it principled when you stood up before the last election and said, elect me for 6 years as a Liberal senator, and now you leave the party without resigning? How is that principled?
Oh, Carl, I understand people are going to be upset about that, but, you know, I haven't changed. The values and principles that I've upheld within the Liberal Party for 30 years are the same. There's too many of the political class who don't want to uphold those values and are not prepared to fight for them. Now, it's not up to me to continue to battle within a major party where it's all more about personalities and about self-aggrandizement and getting promotion rather than getting the right outcomes for the country.
I mean, you just didn't like Malcolm Turnbull. You two didn't get on. That was the reason why you left.
You know, Carl, I found Malcolm to be very respectful, very considered as Prime Minister, and
you couldn't stand him.
I'm not going to play the personality game, mate. I'm happy to work with anyone.
Okay, so there were murmurings about you for months, sustained murmurings. I would imagine the PM was all over this. When did he first raise his concerns about you possibly leaving the party?
We haven't had a conversation about me leaving the party at all.
Not one?
No, Carl, I've expressed for many years my concern with the direction that politics has been heading, that there's a breach of faith, if you will, between us and the Australian people.
I just find that baffling. I find that baffling that the leader of your party, the leader of the country, who would have heard murmurings of you leaving didn't even pick up the phone and ask you if you're leaving. Never did it.
Well, you know, murmurings, gossip and rumours.
Have you spoken to him since?
Yes, of course. I spoke to him yesterday, Carl.
Okay, and how was that conversation?
Well, it was cordial and polite. And, you know, of course, I'm not going to relay the contents of a private conversation, but I understand full well the disappointment that many people feel in this space. But I've got to do what I think is in the best interest of the nation in the long run.
Did you discuss with him the possible leadership murmurings about him inside the party?
Carl, I'm not going into private conversations. You know, it's just not going to benefit anyone. And you know, ultimately, the Liberal Party will now make decisions for itself.
You now want to unify the, I guess, the Conservative vote, but you're going up against Pauline Hanson. Doesn't that divide the Conservative vote?
Well, you know, Pauline Hanson, I think, is a formidable lady. She's tenacious and she's got a great resilience. You know, everyone is allowed to make their pitch to the voters and they will make their call. What I want to offer voters is a principles-based alternative if they don't want to vote for the major parties.
All right. Corey, good to talk to you today. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.